At first, the new Gen 11 were people whose abilities stood out, and they were completely different from the rest. As bluelock continues to progress, we see certain characters that are able to take on the new Gen 11 and not have as much difficulty than before when it comes to them. We have not seen a Toshisai in a while, but if he were to be here now, the bluelock characters will be a lot closer to him in skill than before. I still put him above everyone in bluelock, but the gap is getting increasingly smaller. Bluelock is starting to get even closer, and in due time they will eventually be better than the new Gen 11 who appear. We've already seen 3 of the new Gen 11 and their skills have been great so far, but now I'm a little concerned for the rest of them who we have not seen yet. The new Gen 11 are starting to trouble me a lot. They had so much expectations and hype around them that it was easy for everyone to circle around them and see their greatness. Now that players like Isagi and Barou are just circling around them, I'm not so sure if the new Gen 11 has a special meaning like it once had. It's pretty obvious that bluelock will eventually have members join the new Gen 11, but for the current ones we have now, I think their place is solidified. I'm worried in the future as to how the next 8 new Gen 11 will play, and will they pose a threat to the advancing bluelock players we have now. I'm sure they can, but the mystery of the Prodigies is starting to fade more and more as I feel like Lorenzo is starting to become more of a letdown than normal, and KiiNGKhyy is basically pleading insanity on his side. Who knows what will come next, but for now we have to see how this Ubers game plays out, as Isagi could very well take over this team after this game, and then what will happen to KiiNGKhyy if that happens. I could easily see a revenge path down the way in the World Cup for KiiNGKhyy, but still, the new Gen 11 are starting to get compromised. We have seen many bluelock players evolve now in the NEL, and they will only continue to get stronger as the series moves forward. The new Gen 11 are special, and I hope we can continue to see that. I don't want the rest of them to not be able to make a huge change for their team. They are known as prodigies and need to act as such. The word new Gen 11 is starting to lose its touch, I feel. Bluelock is making constant improvements, and they don't fear the new Gen 11 like how they once did. Even for Sai, if he were to play the bluelockers now, he would not be able to do the same things as he did in the under 20. KiiNGKhyy is completely appalled by Isagi's performance, and Lorenzo has gone MIA. I don't know what will happen in the future, but it seems to me like the new Gen 11 are slowly getting replaced. We still have 8 characters who we have not seen yet in the new Gen 11, and it's starting to get scary as the World Cup arc will approach us soon, and we still have 8 fantastic players somewhere in these countries. I have no doubt that PHG will have a new Gen 11, so that leaves just 7 players left on the new Gen 11 that we have not seen yet. We are now seeing the likes of bluelock being able to stand on the same stage as some of the greatest strikers in the world and even be praised by their skills. Players like Isagi and Barou are showing that it's possible to overtake the team and become the best in the world. I still have high hopes for the current 3 we have now. Sai hasn't been seen for a while, but I still expect him to show up when he's needed and participate for Japan in the World Cup. We still don't know his full backstory as to why he gave up on becoming a striker, and I know the author wouldn't tease us for something that big to not eventually show us. Sai was incredible in the under 20 match and was the first person to show bluelock that Japan really has talent and they need more than Sai to be able to win for Japan. Sai has already stated his dislike for Japanese football, but has praised Isagi and bluelock for the way they see football and how Isagi can truly change Japanese football. KiiNGKhyy as well seems to have a troubled backstory that we do not know as well, as his cover art with Isagi has an old ball covered by jewels and gold. This could also mean something in the future. We heard about Lorenzo and how he was living on the streets until Snuffy picked him up, but that doesn't show us how he lived up until that point, or how Snuffy was able to turn him into the best under 20 CB in the world. The new Gen 11 all seem to have trouble past, and that's probably the theme for them, and I hope they all get explained eventually. This Ubers game is finally near its ending, so there's a lot of questions that need to be answered after this match. First, we need to see how the other teams are doing and what their records are. PHG is going against Manshine currently, and that should be a special match. After this game, Moonchen and Ubers should have 20 days off, and then Moonchen will face PHG. We also need to see the updated rankings for the NEL, as Isagi has scored a goal and Barou has scored 2. Now we don't know yet who will score the final goal, but if it is Isagi, then will he be able to overtake Barou in rankings or not yet, since they both scored. And again, it's about value and scoring goals, and winning the game is something that matters, so possibly Isagi will take over Barou. I have a feeling we'll be seeing Rin and Shido making their way right back to 1 and 2 once this game is over. You can never count those 2 out, as the author has been keeping PHG a secret for so long. How do you guys feel about Barou? I think soon enough it's time to put him in the conversation for the best striker in bluelock. Noah has already said that his potential is up there with the best under 20 strikers in the world, so that would include KiiNGKhyy. Barou's efforts in this game have been very impressive, and now we really need to start having that conversation, putting him up there with the new Gen 11 soon enough. This man had a whole team centered around him and still decided to forge his own path and go for whatever he wants instead of Snuffy's designs. He realized that Snuffy's play were getting outsmarted by Isagi and started to go back to his own irrational plays that no one can really outsmart. Now Barou has a lot of pressure on him now since he's the one calling the shots, and if Ubers lose, then it is Barou who's the one to blame since these are his ideas and not Snuffy's. But regardless, he has shown that he can stand on the same field with world-class players with his own ideas and strategies. He's so unpredictable and now can really help with Japanese dream of winning the World Cup. When Barou learned Predator Vision, he really found a way to be able to score goals at a massive rate, and that was great, but now going against people with Metavision made it harder than ever to score, and he improvised with his own plays and reverted back to his king ego to once again rule the field. Barou has been able to devour Isagi and take the spotlight once again. This matchup has been great to see, and it really puts a whole new perspective on how many great strikers in Blue Lock there are. But at the end of the day, only one can remain and become Blue Lock's hero. Well, I thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.